When I realized I wanted to move full-time to freelance, I made sure to improve on these 5 skills first. So here's what I've learned. Here's 5 skills that I think that you need to have in order to turn freelancing into a stable and thriving full-time success for you. Specialize in a niche. Now, while this isn't technically a skill, the skill itself would be being able to identify your niche and accept that you can't do every niche. And it will take you a lot of time to go through life, go through different jobs, go through different niches in order to confidently say to yourself, I found my niche. And when I did find my niche, it did definitely take me some time to grow into it, to learn what it was all about, to learn the differences between this type of editing versus another type of editing before I felt confident handling clients on my own. My niche is social media. Before I went full-time as a freelancer in social media space or online content creation space, I first did social media and content creation editing for a company that I was hired full-time for. And that was pretty lucky of me to be able to go into this company, learn that I liked the job. It was challenging enough that I had to, learn a lot of new things surrounding it. But then I got kind of the full experience because I ended up directly speaking to the clients and kind of managing my whole video space by myself. I kind of got that full freelance experience without actually being freelance. So I knew in order to do well in the social media space and really in general in the freelance space, I was going to need to get better at X, Y, and Z. And I have to assume that it's going to be the same for all of you. If you are not in a niche, if you don't know what kind of video editing you want to do, you're gonna have to either go get employed doing that type of niche or just start creating content that is similar to that niche. If you're truly meant for and interested in that niche, the will to learn more about that niche will just come along with it and you'll be excited to learn more rather than feeling really like dulled down and pulled back and reserved about needing to do all these things in order to specialize in whatever niche that might be. Now, if we haven't met yet, my name is Colleen. I'm a freelance video editor, and in this channel, I help you to get a video editing job and I help you to get paid doing what you love. So for more tips on that and to support my channel, please be sure to hit the like button below and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Creativity. Now, I've always considered myself a creative person. More than likely, you do as well if you are in this video editing space. I do think that I got a little bit lost in college and also outside of college, like right after I graduated, getting thrown into different kinds of projects that I wasn't really interested in. All of those things don't help for creativity and can often lead to burnout. I was kind of revamped once I did get a job in the social media and marketing space. That was also the time that I had learned what Envato Elements was, which had a ton of templates that really helped me. Like just looking at all of the different kinds of things that you could create as a beginner, it was just really helpful for me to have access to all of these things that I could learn from, and it inspired a lot of great ideas. And while it can be easy to get a subscription to something like Envato Elements and essentially create your video with all this stuff, pulling in all of these templates and footage and graphics and making this video with just all of this cool stuff in it, I really started getting better at visualizing what I wanted the end product to look like and literally pulling elements from different templates, different graphics that I knew that I wanted for the piece rather than relying on one full download to just make the whole video. Because I do feel like something like a platform like Envato is great for inspiring content, and we should be using it as such. We should be using pieces of it to inspire our content rather than relying on all of these things fully, which I think can kind of often lead to lazy editing or lazy content creation. And I do think that this is a huge skill to improve upon if you are interested in any space in video editing, making sure you're not relying too much on something that you did not create, but instead using those pieces to complement your work and having a very clear visual picture in your mind of what you want that content to ultimately look like. Client relationships. I did just touch on this a teeny bit before, but I will do it again. When I was at that full-time job at the marketing company and I was handling all of these clients by myself, it helped me master client relationships. And that was a huge factor in helping me realize that I could do this on my own, freelance-wise. When you have access to the ability to talk to clients from the very beginning that they come onto a project all the way until the very end of said project, when you can master that, when you enjoy doing it, for me at least, that was the moment that I knew that I could do this on my own. I like talking to people. I like problem solving. I like thinking of weird, fun ideas for said client. I like finding a way to take their ideas, finding a way to make that happen for them. Now, even if you cannot find a position like this where you are talking to any client directly, I think that you should not forget that this exists. This is a huge part of freelancing. And if you want to test this out before you get into this full time, you can try just taking on one freelance client and see how that works for you. See if you like talking to them and if you like working with them and problem solving with them, or if it's all sounding very exhausting to you and you would rather just keep the client relationships to someone else. And if that's the case, then freelance is not necessarily for you, and that's okay. Reliance on yourself. If I was going to be quitting my job and moving to freelance, I knew that I was going to be doing it mostly alone, at least to start. And again, not to keep circling back, but I was already doing that by myself alone whenever I worked at my 9 to 5. I was already doing it alone. So I knew that I could do it alone. Hello. There already was no team effort that I was relying on. Now, if you don't have that to compare to and you would be moving to freelance from working with a team, that's a huge thing that you need to consider. Have you done that before? Have you done start to finish by yourself before? Because even though I did already do that, there were still a lot of things I needed to perfect. There was a lot of disciplinary skills that I needed to teach myself. There still is, to be honest. That's something that I still struggle with. I needed to gain a lot more confidence in my own skills, and I needed to get really, really good at organization of both my day-to-day work and also of big picture things like branding and things like that. So I would just say to you, if you haven't done this and you are considering freelance, imagine what it would be like to rely solely on yourself. You're gonna have to get really honest with yourself. It's okay if you are not a perfect person and you want to still just jump into it. Again, that was me. I was fully aware of my strengths and my weaknesses and the things that I was going to need to be working on if I was going to rely solely on myself for work. Is this a scary thought to you, or is this an inspiring thought to you? Now, if you can't imagine working alone from the start, you can, in theory, hire an assistant or even an intern to help you when you first get started. However, there's a lot of skills that come with that. Do you have the skills of delegating, properly respecting your assistant, communication with said assistant? If you can't foresee your own issues, problems, weaknesses in any of these things, you're not going to do well when it comes to freelance. You need to be really, really honest with yourself here. Also, if you are going to consider getting an assistant, I would highly suggest working on systems of your own first by yourself, like different templates or just different breakdowns of how the work will go. What are you going to use to transfer footage and information back and forth to each other? I would figure all of that out and make sure you have systems in place so that your assistant knows what to do, knows how to rely on you and when to rely on you for work, and they obviously also know what you want and how you want said project done. Task management. This is absolutely something that I needed to work on. I'm a yes man and I have a hard time with obviously saying no and with juggling a lot of different kinds of tasks, but still wanting to do all those tasks for said client or random person or friend or whoever. So if you are similar and you are overwhelmed with a lot of tasks, maybe you did already start freelance or you're planning on starting it and you're not sure about this skill set. There's a couple ways that you can approach each task. I would think about it in these 3 ways. Where is this task on the priority level? If it's high priority to you, if a client is waiting on it, if you're getting paid for it, if you can't do your job without it, if it would ruin your reputation if you didn't do it, that is high priority to me. And if it is, you just need to get it done. There's no if, and, or buts around it. You need to prioritize those things first. Those are the tasks that are going to move you as a freelancer. Sometimes it's not all about all the fancy business, fun branding stuff. It's just about doing the work. However, maybe the task is not super high on your priority list. If it's not, can this task be outsourced? Can you get an intern or an assistant and outsource these things to them? If it's something that you don't specialize in, maybe it is branding, for example, can you outsource that to someone else? Can you pay someone $50 to help you make a logo or $200 to set up your website? I don't know. I don't know how much things cost.
I mean, it's one banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10?
And if you cannot outsource the task, or you do not want to outsource the task, do you need the task at all? Can it be eliminated? When you are in the freelance game, it is all about simplifying. We're not complicating the process here. We're trying to get what we need done for the client, get paid, and move on. We're not trying to make our jobs more difficult. Now, this is something that again, privileged. I was lucky enough to have a lot of experience working with interns, both at my 9-to-5 and the jobs previous to that. I was really up in the intern space, probably mainly also because I was an intern myself. I interned for 3 different companies whenever I was in school. And then whenever I got out of school, I was just involved in a lot of different other intern programs, like handling other interns, delegating things to interns. From that comes a lot of experience learning how to work with assistants, how to respect their time, how to delegate properly, how to communicate. However, being an actual intern also helps you on the other side, where you learn 1, what it's like to be an intern, and 2, how to prioritize those tasks, how to make sure that your tasks are being seen by the right people if you want to impress someone, and sometimes how to just do the task, just do the work, even if it's not a fun task to do, and how doing the work is the thing that gets most appreciated by people. Doing work consistently gets you appreciation. All of this to say, not to delve too far into this, but if you have an opportunity to either learn as an intern or get an intern and learn from them, I would highly encourage it. I am very pro intern, and I think it helps with a lot of those soft skills like task management that often are forgotten about when it comes to the freelance space. Okay, that was kind of a tangent, but I would love to hear your thoughts on these skills. Are you a freelancer yourself? Do you agree with these skills? Do you have some of your own skills that are essential to you being a freelancer that I didn't mention in this video? I would love to hear your thoughts. Please put them in the comments below. Again, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. If you like talking about video editing and freelance, that's what I'm here for. Thank you so much to my editor, Logan. Again, I will catch you guys in the next video. Have the best one.